Hello all you adorable fluff butts out there. Kitthesoulless here, and this rant is going to be a rather personal one. Now, there won't be much movement on screen for this. There are only a few images I'll be showing, but the message is an important one. Today we'll be talking about me, or rather my past. We'll be talking about accusations made by other YouTubers and a handful of outraged people who choose to twist words and assume the worst about others. Now, let's clear some things up, shall we? Before anything else, let's talk about what I've been accused of. People have called me a Nazi because I don't fall in line with their political beliefs, which is amusing given the fact that I've been an activist for the LGBT community since I was 15. I have fought and even bled for equal rights for all people, regardless of gender, gender identity, sexuality, skin color, or nationality, and I continue to do so when I see it. However, I don't back groups who would rather use destruction, intimidation, and murder for the sake of furthering their political goals, so I guess there's that. I've also been accused of being alt-right or alt-furry because of the same thing. Although the people who claim this disregard the fact that I was, for more than a decade, a center-left Democrat. Now, while I may not be a Democrat anymore, I'm still center-left, though apparently those who accuse me of such things can't see that. Or more accurately, they'll ignore the fact because they look for reasons to hate, regardless of who. Walking away from a political party that has essentially abandoned you doesn't make you a radical or an extremist. It simply means that your political beliefs no longer align with that particular party. I've been accused of victim blaming as well, and to an extent, it's true. I do blame victims on occasion, but let's clear up why, shall we? When someone decides that their best course of action is to call someone out on social media rather than going to the authorities, I see it as wrong. The reason for this is because I've seen what it leads to, and I'm not a fan of people trying to weaponize an accusation. If someone truly has had something done to them, their first course of action should never be revenge. Nor should it be to try and rile up an army of people for the sake of harassing their attacker. I would rather see people who have done horrible things tried and convicted for their crimes. So, yes, when a victim chooses vigilante justice over law, I tend to blame them for that choice. Though, I don't blame them for what happened to them. Terrible things do happen, but that's why we have the rule of law in every society that is worth a damn. Now, lastly, I've been accused of being a zoophile, which, if you squint your eyes and don't look very closely at the evidence that's been levied against me, might seem to be true, but I assure you it's not. The screenshots that have circulated claiming that I had an account on a forum dedicated to that particular perversion are actually fairly easy to explain, so let's go ahead and break these down, shall we? In November of 2006, I was approached by an individual on an IRC server, going by the name of Cinnabunny. They were shy and had apparently heard that I did commissions, but they wanted to know if I did NSFW commissions. I told them that I did indeed do NSFW work. I told them my rates, asked their age, and when they said they were born a year after me, I figured it'd be fine. After all, I was 19, which meant they would be 18. They asked for a vor story between him and another individual who I assumed was his mate, someone by the name of Zero Dragon. Payment came in, so I started on the work, and while I was working on it, Zero decided to contact me, giving me information on him and Cinnabunny that I wasn't already aware of. He was a minor. They both were, and apparently Cinnabunny had been stalking Zero for a while, so I did what any sane person would do. I deleted the commissioned work, refunded the individual's payment, informed the mods of the adult servers I knew he was in about his age, and blacklisted him from ever commissioning me again. A couple months later, the same individual started spreading rumors about me, and when he was asked for proof, he gave links to an account with my name on it, on a site I'd never heard of before. Several of them, in fact, from things like the forum in question here, to a geriatric porn site, and even a bug chasers forum, which, for those who don't know, a bug chasers forum is a place where people who have STDs, or want them, go to hook up with people. Kinda sick if you ask me, but I mean, if STDs are your thing, you do you. Now, I spent over a year dealing with these accounts, getting them deleted on various sites, all the while dealing with people who simply believed the lies outright. Now, I did petition the webmaster on that forum to remove the account, though their reason for denying my request was simple. They had the policy of, if it's been on the site for more than 24 hours, it remains up forever. A dick move to be certain, since at the time I had the IP and the email address of the individual who made the account, and even proved to them that I wasn't the one behind it. They even refused to change the name on the account due to their policy. Oh well though. Life goes on, and I eventually stopped getting harassed after I gave proof, specifically logs of my interactions with Cinnabunny, including one where he gloated about how he'd ruined my life. Another thing I feel I should note, by the way, is the fact that, in the post that has been circulated from that forum, Cinnabunny actually got my dog's name wrong. There's only one R in Kira. Now, I will point out that the people who used these nearly 14-year-old screenshots to try and attack me yet again were told all of this as well, and simply chose to ignore it, assuming that they knew better than the person who had actually been the victim of impersonation and defamation. Which is sort of amusing, since these are the same people who flipped out on me for victim blaming. I wonder if they're going to continue harassing me even after this video comes out. I've no doubt they will, but oh well. I'm no stranger to being hated. So on that note, let me give you guys some ammo, shall we? Because if you're going to hate me, I'd honestly rather it be for the truth rather than a bushel of lies. So, while I may not be what others claim I am, I have done things in my life that I'm not proud of. For example, when I was a teenager, I was a criminal. My record was mostly for assault cases, and yes, I served my time for them. Not in a cell, but rather in the form of nearly 3,000 hours of community service. The judges who presided over my trials decided to put me to work, and if I refused, I would have spent 8 years behind bars. I decided to help my community as punishment, dealing with backbreaking work from being an unpaid janitor at a teen center to picking up trash on the side of the road. And the reason for this? You see, I wasn't really well liked as a kid. I was picked on fairly regularly because I was openly a furry and openly gay. The day I was beaten nearly to death in the school locker room by a group of 6 other boys, though, was the day I decided I'd learn how to fight back. I never started the fights, but I did finish them, and quite effectively at times. I was technically also an arsonist, which is a heinous crime in and of itself, but let's look into the circumstances behind it, shall we? When I was 15, my friends and I were walking home from the library one day, smoking cigarettes and talking. I had gotten down to the butt of mine, so I used the ember to light another, snuffed the spent one out on the bottom of my shoe, and tossed the butt. I didn't know, however, that the ember wasn't fully out. The ember lit a field on fire. Now, I could have run home and ignored it. My house was only about 90 yards away, after all. But instead, I ran to a local fire department to alert them of the fire. When I went to trial, the judge saw it for what it was and reduced my charges from a felony to a misdemeanor, stating that a mistake should not ruin the life of a child. The owner of the field, who had planned to have it cleared anyhow, demanded no restitution, and neither did the fire department, who had to put out the flames. All of these charges, however, are now locked away in my juvenile records. I atoned for my sins, and the legal system saw fit to give me a second chance, as they do for most people when they turn 18. It doesn't stop there, though, because as an adult, for several years I hated myself, believing that for my past sins I was indeed a monster, undeserving of anything but hatred. I became an alcoholic and a drug addict in order to escape the pain I felt, hiding away behind the haze of intoxication. It wasn't until I found my mate that I realized that I didn't deserve the hell I'd created for myself in my own self-loathing. So, if you still want to hate me, then go ahead. I'm certainly no angel, but I've atoned for my past sins. I've been through years of counseling for my anger and my old violent habits, and I've punished myself endlessly for the person I used to be. Now, after everything that's been said and shown here, if you still want to hate me, go for it. I can't stop you. But I will say, let it be for the right reasons, rather than the misinformation spread by vindictive individuals.